Hi everybody, it's Maria, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the books that I've read lately, 100 through 103 on my 2017 have read list. So with no further ado, I will go ahead and start in. The first one was Foreword by Abby Wambach, a memoir. I had the pleasure of getting to go see Glennon Doyle Melton, as well as Abby and several other activists in Chicago earlier this past week at Together Live. It was a great, very inspirational, but also a wealth of information in 4 hours, gathering of people to talk about how to move forward and to do it well and to do it with love. Abby, this is the book that she wrote before she met Glennon. She is actually a World Cup superstar. She has several records for soccer, and it's kind of her story, kind of coming out of a family where performance was very important, and her coming out story a little bit, and just recognizing who she is and what she wanted to be going forward. I thought it was a pretty good book. I thought the front end was a little bit stronger than the back end of it. So I appreciated it. I like hearing her speak much more than I liked reading the book. Although the first half was pretty eye-opening as far as her dealing with talking about the two Abbeys and her, and just the struggle between the two. I think several people could relate to that. So the first book on there. The second one is Charles Martin's The Mountain Between Us. Many of you have probably seen the previews at least, but maybe you've seen the movie as well, of the story. It's a romance, I guess, and maybe a little bit of suspense too. There's a couple who are not a couple. They're just two strangers that happen to be on an airplane, a privately chartered plane. Something goes wrong with the plane that they were supposed to be on, and so they privately charter a plane together, and they end up crashing on this very desolate mountain and then having to survive with their injuries. They're trying to figure out how they're going to do that together. It was interesting listening to the back and forth between the people. It was a very quick read because I definitely wanted to know what would happen. There's some things you don't know about the characters that you find out as you go along. One of the characters has a recorder, and so you kind of hear some of the things that he's saying into it to get some backstory. So I thought it was an interesting book. I think the movie, Idris Elba, I mean, come on. I'll be watching it whenever it comes out on DVD, but that's The Mountain Between Us. This next one has the pleasure of being the first book that I have read, not backwards, but differently than I usually read. So I picked it up from the library and I thought, well, this is kind of a strange cover. And then I turned it around and realized it's written by a Japanese artist. It's Jiro Taniguchi's Guardians of the Louvre. So it's written back to front, or, different than it is in Western culture. And again, the Louvre was what drew me in. And it has some great renditions of art that's in the Louvre, as well as talking about this man's experience going there, him imagining talking to the artist who created some of the art. It's a graphic novel, so it took me not very long to read, but it was just fun to get caught up in the experience of him talking with these guardians of the Louvre about the art. So it was a fun one. And then the last book that I read was What Happened by Hillary Rodham Clinton. Most of you know who Hillary Clinton is. I think most people on the planet know now. It was a very large book. It was about 400 or so pages. It was well written. I really appreciated the inspirational quotes that she put at the beginning of each chapter. And what really resonated with me is just how somebody who's gone through what she went through, who was excited, and she experienced all those emotions, and she was, sure, of course, she was going to win, as were most people, I think. And then just having to look at her current situation and then figure out what to do next. So she goes back and forth in time, so you kind of get some backstory, as well as looking at how the campaigns went and how the post-election went. So I thought it was a really interesting read. I really enjoyed it, actually. And I've not been a Clinton lover my entire life, so it did make me appreciate some things about her that I didn't know before. So yeah, it definitely gave me a lot of insight and food for thought. So that is what I read. I would love to know what you've read recently that you really enjoyed. And if you've read any of these books, if you have comments you want to talk about. So I will talk to you later. Bye.